What's up, guys? Welcome to today's speed build. I hope you're all having a wonderful day and happy Friday to all of you. I'm sure you are looking forward to the weekend just as much as I am. As for today's build, we are over in New Crest and I am building a suburban home for a family of 6 using only the base game. But before I get too deep into today's build, I would like to just take a brief second to invite you guys to leave a like on this video if you do find it enjoyable, and also subscribe if you have not already, and comment down below what your favorite part of today's build is. I love to interact with you guys down below. Now, as far as today's build goes, like I said, this is a suburban house for a family of 6, and these two parents actually have 4 kids that range from infants all the way up to teenagers. So as you probably can tell, they have quite an age gap between their oldest child and their youngest child, which was not necessarily planned. This last child was kind of an oopsie. They are, not far from turning into actual adults from young adult, and so they were pretty much done having their kids and they wanted to focus on the 3 that they had. But then, the parents, they were drinking some juice that night and things got out of hand. Let's just put it that way. And then they had a surprise like a couple weeks later, and now they have an infant. So you guys know how the story goes. Those nights that you drink a little bit too much juice or a little bit too much nectar, whatever they call it here in The Sims, those nights will get you if you're not careful. And that is unfortunately what happened to this couple. I mean, I say unfortunately, it was an accident, but they absolutely love and adore their new little addition to the family, as well as the other 3 too. I mean, I don't want to forget about them. I don't want to make it sound like they don't love the other 3 kids. They love all of their kids and they are super family oriented. This whole family is a family that loves to be together, the teenager included. Like, he's not like really a normal teenager that can't stand their family. He absolutely loves to be home in the evenings and on the weekends to hang out with his family. He does have his fair share of inviting his friends over and stuff like that, but like I said, he's not one of those teenagers that just can't stand his family, that's always talking bad about them and complaining about them. He'll listen to his friends complain about their parents and then he'll be like, yeah, I can't relate, dude. I cannot relate. I love my parents, man. So yeah, I mean, in other words, this is a big, happy family. And that is actually the aspiration for both the mom and the dad. They both want a big, happy family, and they're pretty much slowly on the road to having a big, happy family. They have all of the kids to be able to check off the boxes. I am pretty sure that some of that aspiration you have to have at least like 3 kids. If I'm not mistaken, I think you have to like marry off 3 kids. I can't remember if that is an aspiration from The Sims 2 or if that is in fact from The Sims 4. I'm pretty sure it's from The Sims 4. I've played that aspiration so much, so I think I would know, but don't take my word for it. If they do have to have a certain number of kids, they have 4, so they have plenty. Now, as far as the careers go for both of the parents, they very much are more family oriented than they are career oriented. They only really work to be able to support their family, to be honest. The mom, she works in the business career. She is just like a manager. She did take a little bit of time off for maternity leave, but she just went back. And so her toddler and her infant, they have to go to daycare during the day, but she actually has a daycare right at her work, so it works out perfectly. She can go and check on them on her lunch break or anytime she needs to, which honestly, I feel like more workplaces in real life should offer that. I heard so many bad stories of like leaving your children at daycares that like, if I can help it, I probably won't do that. But that is the only option for so many people. It's pretty crazy. Like, I think more offices should offer like daycare right there, especially like bigger offices. I don't see like why they couldn't do that if they have a lot of extra space. But yeah, I mean, I know there was this one job that I worked at, they had like a gym at their office but no daycare. It's like, really, a gym? I feel like having a free daycare on site would benefit a lot more people, and that's coming from someone that doesn't even have kids. But I know people would benefit having a free gym on site too, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like a daycare it would benefit a lot more people. More people than not have kids, especially kids that need to be watched. And a lot of people have my opinion on the fact that they don't want to send their kids to daycare, you know? So I feel like, in other words, a business offering daycare at that office on site would be like a huge reason why someone would accept that job. But anyways, mom, she is in the business career, and like I said, there's a daycare on site, so it's perfect for them. And then the dad, he is actually a gardener. Like, that is his hobby, and he was lucky enough to be able to make that into a career. Unfortunately, mom, she's not as lucky. She kind of hates her job, to be honest, but she's only doing it to be able to support her children, which is the story of so many people's lives. It is so sad, but it's true. I mean, you have to work to live, if you have kids or not. Mom, she actually doesn't really have a hobby. Her kids are her hobby. Just taking care of her kids, hanging out with her kids, taking them to like football practice or whatever like sports that they're doing. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's technically healthy that her kids are her life, because once her kids grow up, like, what is she going to do? Then it's going to be all about the grandkids. But that's just how she is. She just loves her kids so much. I mean, I guess if she had to choose a hobby, her hobby would be cleaning her house. Like, she is a huge neat freak, and she actually enjoys cleaning. Like, she's one of those weird people that I envy, and she enjoys cleaning. I can't relate to that. I do not enjoy cleaning. I mean, I have to do it because, you know, you have to clean, but some people actually enjoy it, and I don't know how they do. So yeah, I mean, that is pretty much the backstory I have for this family. I will get into each of the kids' interests and hobbies once I get to their bedroom. It's just a little bit easier for me to do that, and I think it makes a lot more sense for you to watch me build their rooms and me talk about their hobbies. As of now, we pretty much have the whole exterior built. I do add terrain paint towards the end, and I do add a little bit more landscaping here and there, and of course I add some more furniture outside, but I do have the basics on the outside done. This room right here, this was like not long after the new update where they added glass walls when I built this, and I had so much fun playing with it. I decided to build this like sunroom sort of thing. I actually used it as like a green room, but it's technically like a sunroom. Because you cannot go outside from that room. You have to like go inside to be able to go into the sunroom, if that makes sense. But I'm using it as dad's little like personal greenhouse, and so I end up putting some planter boxes in there and garden pots and some other like little plants, and it ends up being a super nice space. And it was so fun building it with the glass walls. There was something about building with the glass walls that was oddly satisfying. I don't know what made it so satisfying, but it was. And now I really have this idea of trying to build a super cheap starter home with those glass walls, because they cost like 2 or 4 simoleons each, and that is way cheaper than windows. And so I feel like you could do a really cool cheap starter home with that. So I do have that in my mind to try, and hopefully it works out. We'll see. But back to this build, we have the floor plan pretty much done, and I am now starting on the kitchen, and I am using the same counters that I tend to use all the time. Whether I am building base game or not, I just tend to always grab these because I just absolutely love the design on them. I love the countertops with the little bit of marble that's in there, and then the cabinets themselves are like standard suburban, almost modernish cabinets, and the swatches are like perfect. I feel like I would have wanted a few more different combinations of swatches, but the ones that they did add are great. Like, I just love these counters. I cannot use them enough, to be honest. The way that I designed this kitchen is a little bit different than I normally do. I have these super long floor to ceiling windows in the front because I really like the way that they looked when you're looking at the house from the front view. But I could not use them on the other side because I had to put the sink somewhere, and you know, it just wouldn't look right to put a cabinet in front of those super long windows. And so that's the main reason why I don't have the cabinets all the way around. If I did not have those long windows, I probably would have just added cabinets over there too. But instead I ended up adding like a separate breakfast nook table, which is different. I mean, we have plenty of seating in this house, which works perfectly because they do have 4 kids and they're very family oriented. They invite over their parents and friends and other family members all the time. So they need a lot of places to sit. So they not only have that breakfast nook, but I also have like an island there. And I used 2 of the like curved corner pieces to have like a half circle. And then I put just stools in front of it. The stool in the middle, I've said this before when I've done a shape like this, but I'll say it again just in case you guys missed it. The stool or like seat in the middle, you can use and they can eat there. They just won't have their plates sitting on the actual counter like the other 2 on the other side. And that is because it's not like clipped in there. I just had to freely place it. But I mean, they can still sit there. They'll just be holding their plate to eat it, which I feel like is kind of realistic anyways. Sometimes you're sitting at places that you just have to hold your plate and eat with one hand, and it's kind of awkward, but it's something you have to do sometimes, mainly at like family events and barbecues, get-togethers where there's a lot of people and you might have to like sit in a lawn chair or on a couch that doesn't have a table in front of you and you just have to like put the plate on your lap. I absolutely hate when that happens, but it happens sometimes. It honestly makes me feel like such a big bag for some reason, and I don't know why. Am I the only one? But anyways, we are still working on the kitchen and I'm really trying to make it look like, you know, a big happy family lives here. I'm trying to stick with the whole theme. And I have a couple of lunch boxes here on the islands and I feel like that's such a realistic thing to do when you have kids. I figured that this would be for the teenager and the child. I do end up changing the swatches once I do the kids' bedrooms, and I knew there was a chance that I would have to change the swatches because at this time I was building the story in my head, but I wasn't quite sure what each of the kids' likes, dislikes, or hobbies were going to be. I tend to figure that out once I do their bedrooms. One of the swatches I end up doing is like a void critter, I believe, and then the other one ends up being just like a normal like gray or black. And then the rest of the kitchen is pretty much self-explanatory, but there is one more thing that I want to comment on. You've probably seen me add like a hall table right behind or in front of the breakfast nook table, and then I put like a stack of books there with some plants on each side. Above that, I actually added like a little cork board, and I thought that was super cute to add. I figured that that is the family's board. We don't have a family board in base game. It's only technically in Parenthood, but I was trying to mimic that family board, so I figured that they would put all of their like plans or future events or anything that the family needs to know right there on that cork board. Maybe there's a calendar there, maybe there's like some school pictures or drawings or whatever, just different stuff for the family. I thought that was a cute little addition, and I feel like if you have 4 kids spanning from infant to teenager, then you're probably super busy and you probably need some sort of like corkboard or whiteboard or something to have reminders on so that you don't forget who has what event or who has what appointment or anything like that. I would for sure need reminders, and I don't want it just on my phone. My phone can send me reminders all day long, but I'm the type of person that needs to see it on paper too. Like, I'm a little old-fashioned like that. I need as many reminders as possible. I need it on the calendar, I need it on my whiteboard, and I need it on my phone. I need it on all 3 places so that I have the constant reminder, because I will forget. My phone can send it to me the day before, but in that short of time, I will forget. I'm not even lying. And all I have to keep track of is appointments for myself or my husband. Like, I don't have 4 kids, so I can't imagine if you do have 4 kids. Like, I would need reminders everywhere. Like, put sticky notes above my bed, on my nightstand, in the fridge, put it everywhere. But yeah, we have finished the main dining room, and I do have 2 high chairs. We have one for the toddler and we have one for the infant. I do not know if the infants really need a high chair in base game. I think they do. I don't think baby food is only tied down to growing together, is it? But anyways, once the infant grows up to a toddler, they will need a high chair regardless, so I figured I would put 2 there. And then I did do the sunroom / green room already, and how good does it look? Like I was saying earlier, I just feel like it's so satisfying to have those glass walls like that. And it makes it easier to build a greenhouse, even though I did do a greenhouse in my last fairy build. And I still ended up adding windows. There's just something about having nothing but the glass walls on a greenhouse and then the glass roof that it looked off to me. I guess I'm just so used to having it with windows that it gives it that extra like white frame on the exterior part of the window, if that makes sense. And it makes it look better to me. So I think I'm still going to make greenhouses using windows, but it is nice to have that choice with the glass wall too. The way that I used the glass walls in this build with that sunroom, I love doing it like that. I love building the sunrooms with the glass walls instead of the windows. But yeah, that sunroom is actually Dad's favorite room of the house for obvious reasons. And actually, he has a daughter, which is the child, that loves to go out there and garden with him. She really likes to practice her mental skill, and I'm pretty sure gardening is part of the mental skill. And so she has so much fun out there hanging out with her dad and practicing her gardening skills with him and learning all of his different tips, tricks, and secrets. And he also has some gardening pots or gardening planter boxes outside as well. And one other thing about the sunroom that's there, I almost made the whole roof glass, but I really liked the way the roof looked with a little bit of it being like a skylight instead of the whole roof being glass. I thought it, 1, looked a lot better, and 2, made a lot more sense. I mean, having a whole glass roof, I feel like would be more of like a greenhouse style, and having the regular roof around it made it feel more like the sunroom, which is what I was aiming for, even though I'm using it as a green room. Honestly, if the dad wasn't a gardener, then I probably would have just used that as an actual sunroom and just added some seats out there for like an extra sitting space. But we are now over into the master bedroom, and like I said, Mom doesn't really have any hobbies and Dad's only real hobby is gardening, and so their room is pretty much just a standard bedroom. I have like a dresser, I put a TV in here. I feel like that's important, especially when you have a lot of kids. Sometimes you might need some alone time and watch some TV with your spouse and just relax and not have a million kids screaming at you. So I figured it was a good idea to put a TV in there. And I also have a bathroom in the master bedroom, and then we have one out in the hallway as like the main guest bathroom, and the kids use that for the shower. And then we have a 3rd bathroom upstairs as well. So bathrooms in this house are not lacking whatsoever. There's plenty of showers and toilets to go around for the family. But we are now over into the living room, and I almost put a computer desk in the living room, but the way that I wanted to lay out the couches, I don't think the sim would have been able to use the computer. Like the chair would have been clipping with the love seat that's there. So I ended up just putting a bookcase there, and then I moved the computer desk upstairs in like that little hallway. And that's really the only place I could find for it. The teenager, he has his own computer, and Dad's not really into electronics, to be honest. The only thing he likes to do is watch TV, and his favorite channel is the gardening channel. And then Mom, you know, she orders stuff online. She might browse the internet sometimes, but she doesn't play any video games. And to be totally honest, I am pretty sure I put a computer in the child's room too. So that extra computer in the hallway is literally just a spare. So any guests that come over, they can use that computer, or it's there for when the toddler and infant grow old enough to be able to actually use the computer. So toilets and computers. I never thought I would use those two words in the same sentence together, but here we are. Toilets and computers are two things that are not lacking in this house whatsoever. There's plenty to go around. If your sim has an accident in this house or has low fun need in this house, I don't know what to tell you. But before I get to each of the kids' rooms, I did want to take a second to describe the sliding glass back door that I have and that design. This is a new thing I'm trying. Usually I have like a back porch that I put the sliding glass door on, and so that I can like kind of decorate the back porch and put a bench or whatever, and I usually make it covered. Now, I do have a back porch, like a very, very small one that you really can't add any seats on. Even though I think I was able to squeeze one on there. I don't know. We'll find out together, to be honest. But I did not put a roof over the porch. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I really like the look of having a back porch covered better than having it uncovered. But I wanted to try something different, and instead of having like an actual roof, I ended up putting like little like awnings there, and so it gives it a different look. They're striped. It almost makes it look like a cafe for some reason, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of cute. It was different, and I was kind of going for different. So let me know how you guys feel about the way that the back porch looks, because I really don't know. But anyways, we are working on the teen's room now, and this particular teen, he really is not into sports whatsoever. He really never has been a sporty guy, but he does really love video games and sci-fi movies and all types of different like geeky things. And by geeky things, I'm not being stereotypical. This is literally coming from the game itself. Like, he has the geek trait, so whatever the game says geeks like is what he likes. He does really love to hang out with his friends as well, and he's thinking about taking up the guitar skill, but he has to talk his parents into letting him get a guitar first. But he is taking a little bit of interest in the guitar. Other than that, really video games and hanging out with his friends, listening to music, kind of normal teenage boy things is really what he's into. And he has a very basic bedroom, but I feel like that's like a typical teen boy thing. Like, they have basic bedroom things, like basic rug, basic bedspread, basic posters on the wall. Like, they don't really go all out and decorate from floor to ceiling like girls do. Not really a lot of the guys that I've seen, if I visited their room as like a teenager, or like my brother, for example, they always just have basic rooms. I don't know what to say. But that's it for the teen, and we're over into the child's room now. And this child, like I was saying, she loves to garden with her dad, but she also loves sports. So like I was saying, her brother is not into sports whatsoever. She got the sporty gene though. She loves to play different sports. She actually plays soccer at her school. And then she also likes creativity, at least to build her creativity skill. It's not really her favorite thing. And she also has a mental table in there too. That helps her raise her mental skill. And so she's able to actually do more than just water the plants with her dad. She can actually pull weeds. I'm pretty sure it takes like mental level 3 to even be able to water plants in The Sims, which seems crazy to me. Like, what else do you have to know besides put water in one of those watering tins and then put it on the plant's roots? Maybe that's what it is. Because a lot of people think you water like the leaf part of plants, when in reality you water the roots. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, when I was a kid, I was one of those people. I thought you watered the green part, not the roots. So maybe that's why. It's starting to make sense now. Sometimes you gotta speak things out loud to be able to really comprehend them. At least I do. But we already finished the infant's room. The infant's room was very basic. I will be so honest with you guys that the base game is lacking for infant supplies. Like, they don't have a changing table. They have like one toy that no, I take that back. There's more than one toy your infant can play with. They can play with like anything that toddlers can, pretty much. So let me not use that as an excuse. I don't know, there's something about building with base game only with infants that I feel like there's not a whole lot of selections on. Like the cribs don't really have any designs on like the blanket or bed parts. I wish there was more like, you know, cute designs on the cribs, like safari animals or the solar system or farm animals, cute rainbows, anything but just blankness. And there's nothing but blankness in the base game version of cribs. And even growing together, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure they have like normal blank cribs too. The only one that has a little bit of a cute design is the one that looks like a playpen. And I really don't like to use those cribs unless I'm trying to be either like cheap because I want to keep it at a certain level of simoleons, or if I put it in the living room as like a spare crib. Other than that, I really don't use that playpen cheap looking one because I just don't think it looks like a real crib. So yeah, I guess that's my excuse as to why the infant's room is so bland and blank and boring. I tried though. I at least put like a dresser in there with some like baby decorations on there. It's bland, it's simple, but the Sims babies, you know, they don't stay infants for long, so I figured it'll be a toddler in no time. Now, as far as the toddler's room, there's a little bit more going on. I feel like the toddler beds have a little bit more pizzazz to them. Like the one that I used has like blue and green colors in there, and there's some stars on the bedspread, and I used the same star rug that matches. And then I put a stuffed animal and the toy box, and then the little blocks for some like entertainment and skill building items for the toddler. And of course the infant, they are able to use the stuffed animals and the toy box as well. They just didn't fit in the infant's room, so I figured why couldn't the infant just go to their siblings' room and play with their toys? I feel like that's something that siblings do a lot in real life anyways. But that is it as far as the inside furnishings go, and I am now finishing up the backyard. We have a little bit of a table and chair set there with a grill, and then we have the monkey bars for the child, and of course we have Dad's gardening stuff. And that is it for today's speed build. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if you did, please leave a like so I know you would love to see builds just like this one, and it also helps the algorithm kick my video out to other simmers. And also subscribe if you have not already. I hope you all have an amazing day or night, have a great weekend, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys!